New legislation to aim to bolster bioenergy with carbon capture and storage technology. It is this week's Champions of Rural America. Congressman Blake Moore of Utah talks about its potential to promote both economic growth and healthy forests.
This bill, BECS is the acronym that's used about talking about biomass and energy storage and carbon capture. Very simple concept, right? We want to be able to remove hazardous material from our forest land and use that for energy, right? And so it's kind of a win-win situation here, and you're able to do it with respect to the environment in a clean, expeditious way. There's a lot of opportunity here, particularly for rural America, because these are sometimes harder areas to get to, harder to power, harder to locate and find jobs in these particular areas. And there is this natural fuel source that will benefit our forest if we remove it and convert it into energy with the carbon capture associated with it. You have a really cool opportunity here.
Well, Congressman Moore points out the specific benefits the bill holds for promoting energy production and forest ecosystems, not only Utah, but across Western America.
So a big part of this legislation is to ensure that we'll have, the environment top of mind. Energy production is key, and particularly with this, you're going to be able to have baseload energy production, and by removing some of this hazardous material, the biomass that exists in our forests, it's going to be better for overall forest health. You're going to be able to mitigate wildfires, which I think is candidly probably the biggest benefit to this. And there'll be an economic way to do it that is sustainable, that makes sense, and produces another vital need in clean energy.
Well, Congressman Moore also talked about one of the most pressing issues in Washington right now, the government shutdown. And while he says it is a frustrating situation, he says he's seen some positive milestones in his local communities.
There's not a lot of positives that come out of a government shutdown. My biggest frustration is you're typically not arguing the object at hand, the item at hand. Like the federal workforce that is currently being furloughed, going without pay, they are not the reason that we're having this other side argument about health care. But it's a leverage point that the Democrats are using right now to have this messaging opportunity about health care. And there's a ton of fallout, and for good, hardworking people that are trying to, support their families, are now working just as hard, in some cases even more, picking up the slack where they need to, and then they're not getting paid. So there's very few positives that come out of this, except when you go to, like I did to our Air Force Base, Hill Air Force Base, and you see the amount of, community connection, the food drives that are going on, and the nonprofits that are stepping in. My local state as well is helping provide coverage for this with respect to food banks and making sure people have something to sustain themselves until this works itself out, hopefully soon. That stuff's really, really unique and really positive to see. Back in Utah right now, you have kind of like a, Giving Week. Philanthropy is at the forefront of everybody's minds, and how important it is and how crucial of a role they play. And, that's definitely a huge positive that comes out of this, is when you see a community step up, but it shouldn't have to. We need to be able to resolve these policy debates without using this option of not paying hardworking Americans.
Well, Congressman Moore continues to represent Hill Air Force Base as co-chair of the Armed Forces and Depot Caucuses, and he is the first from the state of Utah to ever be elected to House or Senate leadership.